A seasoned jewel thief partners with a reclusive ex-criminal strategist to assemble a motley crew of skilled operatives for an intricate diamond heist. This is the film Diamond Dogs. It's written by Chris Smith and Joe Betts, and it's also directed by Chris Smith. I wanted to talk about the film, the cast and the crew and the filmmaking process, and how incredibly hard it is to do that with little or no budget. Yes, I'm in the film and I helped produce it as well, but I'm not talking about the film because of that. I wanted to talk about it because of the processes in more depth. Hopefully this will enlighten people about the work involved, or if you're involved in filmmaking, inspire you to create your own projects. I think it's fair to say that most of us enjoy watching films, and we probably have a favourite genre, maybe a favourite actor. We may prefer films that are based on true stories or like to resonate with the characters. Whatever our preferences, many people are not aware of the process that goes into making a feature film or similar visual media. To be fair, there's a massive difference between films made in Hollywood or big budget blockbusters compared to independent films or indie films as they're also known when it comes to pre-production, filming and post-production and other related production aspects. Films with a budget will have teams of people dedicated to certain roles, many of which you will see listed on the masses of credits at the end of a film. A large budget film can have well in excess of 100 people on set during filming and hundreds more working in the background. A film like a no-budget indie film can have anything from just a couple of people upwards. With Diamond Dogs, we had a very small crew, between 2 and 6, depending upon the scene. We had very little budget. I think we had just over £3,000 raised from a crowdfunding campaign. And this was used mainly for props and food, to feed the crew and cast, and a tiny amount helping towards expenses. But in essence, all cast and crew gave their time for free. They were generally out of pocket. Making a film like this requires a lot of dedication and time. In a previous feature I made last year called Buying Time, I spent in excess of 1,000 hours working on that film. So you can see it's not for the faint-hearted. Dedication, determination, and resilience is the order of the day. Anyway, back to Diamond Dogs. This is a light-hearted crime film whereby two main characters, Paul Canterbury and Rick Foster, gather together a crew of skilled operatives to commit a diamond heist. Diamonds are in a secure location owned by a modern-day influencer. Paul is a criminal who is flamboyant and who he thinks he's pretty much untouchable due to his crime skills. In contrast, Rick has recently been released from prison. He's more cautious due to his experience. Paul talks Rick into one last job. After receiving inside information from their online contact Isaac, they go on to recruit the rest of the crew. Bite-Size, the bullshit storytelling tech guy, Colin Bell End as he's known, the retired getaway driver who now drives a Uber, Adriana De Silva, the distracted, mistakenly recruited due to her father's past undoings, and Troy Armstrong, the muscle, who's a secret fantasy stories nerd. This eclectic bunch, led by Paul and Rick, plot and plan for the big day. This is very much a character-driven film. As with many low or no-budget films, having loads of action and special effects is very hard to pull off well. Saying that, Diamond Dogs does have some action, enough to help drive the story forward in between the plotting, the gags and the conflicts between the characters as they move closer to the main event. We were very lucky with our locations in Diamond Dogs, all of which we managed to get for free. These included pubs, a hideout, industrial units, various rooms and buildings, a cafe, and an actual bank which was no longer in use. Without the use of the locations to help, the film would not be able to have been made, or major compromises would have been needed. And that's another thing. With indie films, there's always a need to compromise and be flexible. For example, we had a location lined up for a scene, and we had to change it at the last minute because it was no longer available. So you need to have your dancing shoes on when it comes to filming, so that should you need to be flexible, you can adapt as required to get the scene done. This brings me on to one of the major headaches with indie film, and that's coordinating people's availability. No one is earning from the film, everyone has a proper job that pays the bills, and people have other commitments, families, etc. So for a scene, you need to make sure that the location is available, the cast and crew are available, and other people involved in the shoot for a specific day are available. And you have to do that for each scene, of which there are many. If you're filming outside, you have to be aware of the weather. There is so much to think about, possibly noise in the area that may interfere. So much to think about. And I've only mentioned a few of the main ones. We were very lucky on Diamond Dogs to have Darren Joy and Darren Woodrow working on most of the larger scenes for us. The rest of the crew was made up of myself and Chris and other casts who chipped in. It may have only been a small team, but we all really got on well. We respected that Chris had the final word, and we all wanted to do the best for the film that we could with the time, the equipment, the locations, and the cast that we had. Time is anyway when it comes to filmmaking. And to be fair, it's the common factor that also affects large budget films. For them, time is money, and for us, time is limited. Back to Diamond Dogs. The film started filming before the whole script was written, and it was quite an organic process. Some filming was done in Devon, this is where I live, and Chris and Nick came down and ended up sleeping on the floor of my studio apartment during the night, and during the day we shot some scenes. The rest of the film was done in Norfolk. I would arrange to go up to Norwich for a block of days, sleep on the streets of my motorhome, and we would film based around people's availability. From the first day of filming to completion was just under a year. In between, I would edit the scenes, ready to combine the scenes together to complete the full film edit. The amount of work that goes into editing is, well, it's a lot. The film was completed and edited by August 2025 this year. And this brings me to the hardest thing in many ways when it comes to filmmaking, getting it seen by as many eyes as possible, certainly with independent films. Hollywood blockbusters or large budget films could have a marketing budget that's nearly as big as the cost of making the film itself. A film like Diamond Dogs with pretty much no budget is pretty much no budget for marketing. Hence, maybe this video for starters. As consumers of anything, we are pounded with images, videos, stories of those celebrities that we know each day. When it comes to new films, it is the same. So rather than watching the mass-marketed big budget films, why don't you give something else a watch? Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of bad films out there, but you can see the ones that have been made with a passion and care, and these deserve a chance. Diamond Dogs has received a few reviews up to date, and they're pretty good. Some do say the film was a little bit too long, maybe, but we wanted it to have time to breathe and develop the characters. To be fair, the characters is what a lot of the reviews do like. Technically, the film's shot nicely, sound is good, and the music's pretty cool. Well, I think it is. It's quite a retro heist film feel to the music. Diamond Dogs won't be the best film you've ever seen, but it will entertain. It'll make you chuckle. You may relate to one of the characters, or not, as the case may be. What you can be sure of is that everyone involved in the film have worked their hearts out to add their little piece of magic and to contribute in their own unique way to help get the film finished. A lot of people start to make independent films and they fall at the first hurdle. But like any athlete will tell you, they never get their best times when they start out. It takes years of failure, practice and resilience to achieve something. So go out and fail first. Improve, iterate, improve, and enjoy the process. The only person that can say no to you is yourself. So, Diamond Dogs. Dive into the world of a British gangster film with a crime caper packed with fun, thrills and style. It's sharp, punchy, entertaining, and a comedy you won't want to miss. You can watch the film now online. We've made it available through the website where you can click on a link, and for just $5 you can rent it, or for $10 you can buy it. All the money that we make will go towards helping to produce future films and support independent filmmaking. I will click a link in the bio or in the comments. So it's aturnfilms.com/Diamond Dogs. Please click on the link and please support us. And I'd like to give a big shout out to everybody that was involved in the film in Diamond Dogs, from cast to crew to people that helped with locations, and to the extras and people that came along and provide some background. We can't thank you enough. And that's from the heart, from myself and from Chris, obviously, who directed the film. Thanks for listening.